Hello, my name is Jesse Burns, and I will be arguing the pro for Pell Grants. It is no secret that education is incredibly important in life. We need to be educated in order to be successful. In regards to having a successful career, we need to obtain certain degrees. Those degrees can range from a bachelor's degree to a master's degree, or even a doctoral degree depending on your chosen profession. Regardless of the level of higher education one wants to achieve, it is important to recognize that the achievement process will be incredibly expensive. It can cost thousands and thousands of dollars over several years to obtain a bachelor's degree. This is what we call the educational gap. The high prices of higher education separate people who can afford those prices from those who can't. People who come from low-income families, which are classified as families who earn $30,000 or less within a year, simply cannot afford college tuition. This limits not only their educational opportunities, but their economic opportunities as well. This is where the federal Pell Grant program comes in. Pell Grants began in 1965 and at the time were known as the Higher Education Act. It was later in 1972 when Senator Claiborne Pell, whom the program is named after, amended the entire HEA. His amendments ensured that low-income students could attend college with financial aid. Unlike a student loan, a Pell Grant award does not have to be repaid after graduation. Universities have reported that Pell Grants increase enrollment by 3 to 5% among low-income students. Students who receive up to $3,500 in Pell Grants are 29% more likely to complete their bachelor's degree than those who don't. Studies also show that between the years 1996 and 2004, Pell Grants awarded to low-income students grew faster than tuition rates at all low-priced public universities. This allowed 7% of all low-income students to attend college immediately after high school. Pell Grants eliminate the obstacles that prevent people from going to college. Now, opposers of this policy love to point out that today, the Pell Grant program does not accommodate students as well as it did back in the 1970s. Today, modern Pell Grants only cover about 29% of all tuition prices, therefore causing many Pell Grant students to take on student loans, which is something that they didn't have to do back in 1975. While this is true, and it's a fact that I cannot deny, it is important to note that this issue can be easily eliminated with the proper legislation and leadership from our government. Amending the Pell Grant program to adjust for inflation on a yearly basis will allow the program to monitor and predict next year's tuition rates, and therefore give students the appropriate amount of money they need in order to cover those prices without other financial aid. Also, doubling the maximum grant amount would better cover the overall cost of college and reduce overall student loan debt. Doubling the price amount also allows students to ensure that they do not need a job while in school so that they can focus on their grades and obtaining their degree. It is also important to note that the federal Pell Grant program is effective. People who receive Pell Grants attend school and graduate. It is also incredibly important to see that many students receive Pell Grants. It is not uncommon. In the 2015 to 2016 academic year, 39.1% of all undergraduate students were awarded a Pell Grant. That is almost half of people who attend college. Without a Pell Grant, these students, 39.1% of students would be unable to attend college in the first place. Out of all the students who received a Pell Grant for the 2015 to 2016 academic year, 22.7% of those students were Black. When we focus specifically on African American students, research has found that over 57% of all African American undergraduate students received a Pell Grant for the 2015 to 2016 academic year. This shows that Pell Grants not only help people in low-income situations, they also reduce the amount of racial disparities we see in the education system. African Americans and other racial minorities are most likely to fall into the category of low-income students. When low-income students are unable to afford college, this creates a racial disparity in our education system and later in our economic system. By limiting the ability of people of color to go to school and obtain a necessary bachelor's degree to be successful, we ensure that they will continue to live in poverty and that their children will continue to live in poverty. Pell Grants work to eliminate not only the educational disparities in our society, but the racial disparities as well. Also, Pell Grants not only help racial minorities, they help many other students. People who receive Pell Grants are more likely to be older, to have children, and to be first-generation students. This policy narrows the educational gap in the United States. It provides educational opportunities to minority groups who would not otherwise have the privilege of a college education, and in many cases have historically been denied that right. Most importantly, this policy proves people will take advantage of an opportunity to educate themselves when the obstacles in their way are removed. Thank you.